Hey guys, and welcome to another GameXplain discussion. I'm your host, Derek Bittner, and I'm joined today by Ted from BrainScratch Comms to discuss the latest info on Fire Emblem If. So let's get started. So Ted, another week, another Famitsu article on Fire Emblem, and so I thought we'd go over a couple of the things that they revealed about it, and, mainly more things on the My Castle functions and some of the new characters, which again, we don't really have to worry about too much because yeah, that's the fun of Fire Emblem, discovering the characters, meeting them, and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, that's one of the best things about the series is that almost every chapter there's a new character to recruit most of the time.
Exactly, and they're all
learning about their personalities is half the fun.
Mm-hmm. So, but one of the other interesting things that they revealed about this is actually the download size of the game. And it's basically around 3 gigabytes to download. And that's
just one half?
Yeah, for just one half. And that's compared to Awakening's 1 gigabyte for the whole game. I was looking at Serene's Forest when they were going over this information. And basically what they're trying to figure out with this is maybe what it is that, the first 5 chapters, of course, is the same both sides. So you got those first 5 chapters, and then they just keep you also download all the assets that work for both sides. So that might mean that the assets that were exclusive to either Nor or Hoshido aren't quite as big, but you're still getting 3 gigs plus if you want to get both versions, plus even more if you were going for the DLC, the third campaign. This game is freaking huge.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that the game does reuse assets. You'll fight in one location in both sides. I'm sure the circumstances will be different, obviously, but that's just a space-saving measure with a game this big. I don't know if this necessarily means that the game will be significantly, or at least one run-through will be significantly longer than Awakening, because the higher file size could just be due to the better quality models and textures. Certainly. Mm-hmm. But I'm liking the size so far. Gigantic RPGs, I love them, but I also hate them for sucking up all my time. But I love how big the game is, and 3 gigs is pretty huge for a 3DS game just in general. So because most don't go over 2, if I remember correctly. So yeah,
yeah, you'll definitely want to have plenty of space for this because
32 gig SD card. I put that. If I had to switch out. I got the new 3DS. If I had to open up that obnoxious back cover once, I was only going to do it once. So
well, that's why I didn't upgrade to a new 3DS, because I just got a 32 gig SD card for my old 3DS, and I'm like, well, I just upgraded. I don't want to go through that again, especially since it doesn't transfer. I have to get a mini SD, so I'm like, screw it. I'm not going to worry about it for now. But I prefer physical copies anyway, so
for a game like this, yeah, me too.
But I'll still need to download some of that for the other campaign and the third campaign if they're doing it the same way for the US. But yeah, we'll see. But anyway, the rest of the news is on My Castle, specifically some of the different buildings that you'll be able to use and build and whatnot. And one of the more interesting ones is the prison, which is basically where units that can basically there are some units that can use a capture command and actually capture enemy units, like the generic units. You can't capture bosses or anything like that, but you can capture these units and send them back to your prison, and then you can recruit these generic units with either resources or simply talking to them, basically bribing them or just trying to get them to your side. And it's an interesting concept, and apparently it was used back with the Thracia Fire Emblem game. I forget the full title. I think it was 776.
776?
Yeah, Thracia 776. Yeah. And it's interesting they brought that in, but I just don't know how much I'll actually use this.
Just for some clarification, these are just like the generic soldiers that you'll be fighting. It's not like characters that you could recruit on the north side or the Hoshido side that you're imprisoning, right?
Yeah, these are generic soldiers.
Yeah, I don't know how much I'm going to be using this either, because again, I don't like using the generic units and stuff. I don't even really like using the DLC characters in Awakening that much, because they're not really characters. They're just kind of skins. And, I have even less desire to use, random soldier number 572, I guess it could be useful if you're running out of units. Like if you're the kind of player who plays on classic mode and lets units die. I guess it could be useful if you need a Pegasus Knight and you don't have one anymore. But other than that, I don't know how much. I mean, it's a cool idea for sure, but I don't know how much I'm gonna actually use it.
Yeah, I'm sort of in the same boat. I mean, it's cool that you can do that. And I'm hoping there's other stuff that you could do, or I don't know. I'm not quite sure how to expand it, but it's an interesting idea, but just one that I personally won't end up using much. I just know it. Another element of the My Castle that is actually returning is the arena. You can create an arena in My Castle, and it mainly works the same, except you're gambling your resources instead of your gold. What's not clear, though, is if you lose the arena, if your character will die as well. Obviously, you'll lose all the resources that you'll lose, but it seems like you probably will die if you lose in there, because there is an option to surrender mid-battle, I guess, so you can save the character you're using.
I guess maybe if you surrendered, you might not lose as much experience, because if it's taking place in the My Castle, if you do the Street Pass battles, your characters don't die and your buildings don't get destroyed. So it'd be really weird if your arena was an exception to that rule. I guess my question is if you're playing on the north side, if that will give you experience as well. Because if you're playing on the north side, Street Pass battles don't give you experience. So
in classic Fire Emblem games, like in Fire Emblem 7, you could go into arenas to get extra XP, and that was basically structured like Nor, where you're going chapter to chapter, you're just going along a set path with no real deviation.
Yeah, but in the classic Fire Emblem games, not every chapter had an arena. Right?
Exactly. There is that.
So my kind of question is that would that kind of defeat the purpose? If you can go to the arena after every chapter in the My Castle, wouldn't that kind of defeat the point of not being able to grind in the Nor version, though?
It is a possibility, but there might be a way that they balance that, because again, according to Serene's Forest, looking at this article, it seems like the character who competes in the arena is randomly chosen, sort of similar to who runs a shop at any given time.
Oh, ooh.
So that makes things a lot trickier when it comes to, I want to grind this person. Nope, you gotta grind this one.
Yeah, because, if you want to grind Kamui, for instance, I don't know if you'd really need to, because he's probably the character that's in each mission, whatever. If you want to grind Kamui and I don't know, the little sister girl is up instead, you might not want to do it, because imagine if your monk was up for the arena. It's just I'm not touching that right now. So
nope. That's a bad idea. So it's interesting. Again, it's you get this idea of what they're trying to do with it, but since you don't know the full idea, it's still how will I be able to do this? Or can I game this system, or is it limited in some way? I don't know. I like the idea of not fully knowing what I'm getting into with the game. I like all the possibilities, but we'll see what actually happens when the game's released.
Wait, so you're saying you like secret things in a game that you don't know about and you'll be surprised about?
Yes.
And you work for GameXplain.
It happens. It's sort of an antithesis to how I feel about things, but because I'm not a huge fan of spoilers myself, but that's the name of the game. So it's because some people are interested, and that's why I do my best to not have spoilers in thumbs or titles anymore. So
yeah. As long as you do it that way, you're fine. It's part of your job.
Trust me, I feel for you guys. The next little thing also has to do with battle is the forge that you can create. And this is the forge where you can use resources to improve your weapons. And it looks like the same weapon may even be able to be improved multiple times, forged multiple times into better and better weapons. It's not exactly clear, but you also have the ability to name your weapons that you forge and stuff like that. But where it becomes a little bit more interesting is that obviously you use the minerals and the resources that you have in order to create these forges, but your My Castle only has really good access to one of 12 possible minerals. So there is an exchange rate, but I think it's 5 of your mineral for one of the other. So it's pretty high, and it's like it really seems to be pushing the whole Street Pass functionality and being able to trade minerals with other players.
The Forge, I think I might actually be more inclined to use it this time around, because there was a Forge option in Awakening in the shop. You could forge a weapon a certain amount to up its damage, up its critical hit, things like that for money. But the thing about that is that weapons could break in Awakening, and correct me if I'm wrong, Fire Emblem fans, but I don't think you could forge the falchion. So, the fact that weapons don't break in Fire Emblem If means that the Forge is going to be an awful lot more useful, because you don't have to worry about this super powerful weapon, you're pouring a lot of resources into it, breaking after 40 hits.
Mm-hmm.
So, I can imagine myself using that. You know what this actually reminds me of? It reminds me of Animal Crossing. In that, you'll start off and you'll have apples in your town, and apples sell for 100 bells, but you really want, like, peaches or anything else, because those sell for 300, and it massively increases your daily profit.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems kind of like that. Like there'll be a community over, oh, I need silver, I need iron, and you'll have people like setting up friend codes or whatever just to trade with each other for materials, which I love social things like that in games. I think
it could actually create an economy within Fire Emblem. That's actually
that's
kind
really
of awesome.
Interesting. Yeah, that's really cool.
I'm the same way, because I saw the ability to use the Forge and improve your weapons in Awakening, but I was like, the degrading anyway. It sort of seems somewhat pointless. I don't know.
Here's the thing: if you want them to be upgraded enough for it to seem worth it, you got to pour a lot of money into it.
Mm-hmm.
In Awakening, and I'm sure you got to pour a pretty significant amount of resources into the weapons for the Forge as well, at least to get them up to max. So.
But again, it makes it more worth it, because that weapon will never disappear. I can make
Yes.
this. I prefer the iron sword because it doesn't make it. It doesn't give me any degradation to my attack bonuses and stuff. So I want to increase that so it's just as powerful as the standard, silver sword.
Or maybe you could upgrade the silver sword so that it doesn't have a minus, maybe?
That's also a possibility, which would be really cool.
Yeah, that would be awesome. It'd actually, it'd be really interesting to see which one was more cost effective, whether it be upgrading the iron sword or upgrading the silver sword.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually really cool. I love kind of stuff like that where you can fiddle around with things. You can like just mess it around in the Forge for an hour and feel satisfied even if you didn't do an actual battle.
Yeah, that's the thing about this My Castle. It really seems you could spend a lot of time in here between missions just getting your army set up the way you want it. And I don't know, I really like the idea of this, where you have this central hub that you can come back to and make plans and basically ready yourself.
Yeah, it seems really cool.
Mm-hmm. Finally, we have My Room, which not only is this the place where you can do the whole Fire Emblem-Amie thing, but you can change your hairstyle at any time. So that's cool. If you want to change it up. Some people like that. Just change up things as you go along.
Well, I guess it would be nice, because one thing about Robin in Awakening is that once you make them, you're set with them.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't really change your mind afterwards.
Yeah, and we actually forgot to mention this in the last discussion, but you can get those accessories as well, little hair clips, a scarecrow mask, whatever, and they'll stick with you. And I kind of like that little further customization, like giving your accessories to make you even more unique.
Again, I'm reminded of Animal Crossing. Because, I don't know if you're going to have to pay for some of these. I'm sure you will.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, in Animal Crossing, you're kind of like, I could pay off my debt and get my soul back from Tom Nook, or I could buy a stupid hat. I'm going to buy the stupid hat.
That's a much better idea.
Yeah, totally. So I can imagine myself wasting money on that in Fire Emblem.
Yeah, it's a definite thing, because I'm a sucker for that sort of thing. Like in Splatoon, I am buying every piece of equipment, and I'm just going to basically unlock their special abilities and then move on to the next. I don't care about my style. I just want to get all the equipment and see what works best, and I'll try to do a nice mix of style and what it actually does for me.
Oh no, in Splatoon, I found a weapon. I found a skill, the recon skill. on my olive jacket. That was three spaces. I love that skill. I wasn't really feeling the jacket, so I bought a standard T-shirt that I liked with that same skill, and then paid the ridiculous amount of money to Spike in order to up its skill slots, so that I'd still have the 3. That's something I love about that game, and I think that same sort of customization stuff, depending on how deep it is, you can spend hours on it and still not get bored. So I'm really looking forward to those things being mixed into Fire Emblem.
Absolutely. But let's get into the nitty gritty even more. Like, you ready for some more controversy when it comes to Fire Emblem-Amie?
No, but let's just do it anyway.
So it is confirmed that this is a form of skinship that we talked about before, when it comes to like rubbing the characters' faces. But it only seems to happen when you get a high enough affection with each other. Which is the symbol of the hearts, that we saw before. So you get high enough, they come in, and there's debate right now whether or not like this whole touching sequence is sort of like a replacement for some of the, or maybe in addition to some of the conversations that you can have as you get your levels up with your characters, in how affectionate they are with each other. And it's actually even deeper than just sort of rubbing them all over the face and watching it happen. No, each character actually has a preferred spot that they like to touch, and the more that you hit that spot, the closer they work, the closer they move to the camera, to you. So it's like this. You're literally trying to get closeness there, and this works even with characters of the same sex. So.
Well, it's not just like, the oh my gosh gay thing. Like, I'm not really a touchy-feely kind of person most of the time, so it's kind of really awkward. Hey, I'm gonna rub your face. Is that okay?
I'm gonna rub your cheek. I'm gonna rub your head.
Male girl, anywhere in between, that would be weird.
Yeah.
So
I'm just personally, I'm glad it's the face. I'm just glad it's the face, not the entire body.
Oh no, it would have been, if they had allowed the entire body, that would have been no.
It just seems like such an odd addition, but I guess they're really... you think it's because the whole waifu thing came about in Awakening that they're trying to appeal to that now?
Probably. Like, they make googly eyes. They've got a more like... I think it's a 3D model actually down there, but it's very reminiscent of the confession photos from Awakening.
Mm-hmm.
They're definitely playing up the dating sim aspect, which, is fine to some extent, because that's a huge aspect of why Awakening did so well, was because people loved matching characters together. It was part of the reason I loved the game so much, but this seems a little overboard. I'm just wondering how much it's going to relate to support conversations, and if I'm going to need to touch it, because...
I mean, it could be very possible that you can just ignore it entirely.
And if that's the case, I probably will, because it sounds a little bit creepy and weird.
It is just a culture thing. I'm willing to give it a benefit of the doubt, just because you don't know. We don't have full context for this yet, which is what I'm waiting for.
We're not Japanese.
That too.
But maybe this is my personality. It's just, I wouldn't probably do that. Like, I didn't, like, unless if I'm just joking, I'm not gonna be like, oh, Derek, your face is so soft.
Yeah. Hey, at least they're being progressive and they're having it that you can do with both sexes, whatever that might mean. So. Yeah,
I don't know if they're going to have any same-sex, like, supports or relationships. I think at least a few would be nice as well, just to even it out. But, I think it's just, this is one of those things that we're just going to have to wait and see on.
Yep. Pretty much, but anyway, any final thoughts on all this new information?
It's nice that we're getting a little bit more clarity regarding some of these things. I think we won't get full details. The game comes out really soon in Japan, doesn't it?
End of the month, yes.
Yeah, so we'll be getting a lot of information come the game's release. The thing I want to know more about is the game's obviously huge. I want to know how much you'll have to download if you're gonna buy the other pack through DLC. If you're gonna get the third story, how much space on my hard drive is this thing gonna take?
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing I really want to know, because I don't want to be, I don't want to play the game and then get to the 5th chapter and have to download, spend another hour downloading stuff. Mm-hmm. I really would not like to do that.
my big hope for E3 in regards to Fire Emblem is that they'll maybe clarify that situation for the rest of the world. Like, okay, this is what it is for Japan. What's it going to be like for everybody else?
Yeah, that would be nice.
So, alright guys, I think that covers it for our Fire Emblem discussion, so thank you guys for watching. And if you like this video, be sure to like us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain. And Ted, where can they find you at?
I'm a member of Brain Scratch Comms, where we do video game commentary, sort of like Let's Plays, only less effort, on a number of different video games. We'll be getting to Fire Emblem at some point. Not any point soon, but some point. So check us out. I think we're pretty cool.
Yep. And of course, stay tuned to GameXplain for more on Fire Emblem, our upcoming E3 coverage, and other things gaming too. Until next time, guys. Bye.